Y'all say hi to Kiara. She is one of my mentees who is just killing the game. I'm super proud of her. If you guys are not already following her, be sure to follow Kiara. So tell a little bit about how you found me and how you got into the mentorship.
Well, I found you right here on TikTok. I was in the real estate industry specializing in rental arbitrage and Airbnbs, but I was like, I want to own my own property. I heard of tax liens from a previous experience with a realtor, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And I just put it down pretty much. So I started Googling tax liens, tax deed, really tax liens. I didn't know there was a difference at first. So I just started researching, and you popped up on my search and started coming on my For You page. I'm like, who is this lady? I need to talk to her. So I started joining these lives exactly, and you just started talking to me. I was talking to Armani, actually. I was like, should I jump in? Should I make this investment? He was like, yeah, if you think... Armani's my boyfriend, by the way, everybody. If you think that's going to better you and you think that's good for you, do it. So I did it, and he joined the workshop. It was 4 hours. It didn't even feel like 4 hours because it was just fun to me. It was exciting to learn something new. Like, wow, I can buy real estate for cheap.
So how has the experience been? Because I know we ran into some issues, right? Some challenges. And a lot of times people think that when you get a property or when you get into mentorship, everything's going to run smoothly. And that is not how things work for you. Because I remember one day you were like, I'm anxious.
Tax sales are buyer beware. And I jumped in that auction and I bought blindly. I didn't see the property. I didn't do my research. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I won.
You didn't even do your research.
I didn't do my research, guys.
That is not what I taught you.
Exactly. I see, I was being anxious, but it wasn't too bad. We did have to go through a process called quiet title action because the title of the property was clouded, and it also had 2 different addresses. But it was clouded and all the previous owners were deceased. So it took me about 4 months to go through that process, and I closed as soon as it was over. But during that 4-month process, guys, I was, Antoinette, help me. I need to pray. Like, no.
She was definitely a little tight. I was like, it's okay, it's okay. And you know what's funny? Like, the problem that you ran into, I had never experienced before, because one of the most difficult things is to teach people how to see things the way that you see things. So I don't know if I would have necessarily caught that particular problem, but I feel like I would have, because I would have been like, hey, what's this? Why is this like this? You know what I mean? I would be like asking questions and like looking. Kiara, by the way, was one of my very first mentees, right? So this is when people on TikTok were like, hey, do you coach? And I was like, yeah, man, I guess I could put something together for y'all. Like, so I'm trying to give information as best I can. So when she ran into that problem, I was like, okay, listen, we're going to figure it out. I had never experienced the issue that you ran into. So it was really a learning experience for me. But I was like, okay, boom. I always say, like, the money is in the problem solving. With these properties, you're not going to just get perfectly polished properties that are turnkey. That's not what tax deed sales are about. But what it does give you is the opportunity to buy these properties and then turn them into diamonds. Okay, since that first deal, you kind of got your feet wet and you're like, okay. So how has your journey been since then, and what changes have you made? Because I remember you said you were in Airbnb, so you could chat about how that experience helped you to get to where you are now.
Mm-hmm. I actually used what I was making from Airbnb to finance my first deals. I ventured away from Airbnb only because I had a squatter and it started to become a little of a liability as a tenant and subleasing the property, which is rental arbitrage. Subleasing by getting the homeowner's permission to do Airbnb. And I just didn't have as much protection as I would as a homeowner. So I was like, I'm gonna put that to the side right now and focus on getting properties. Then I can start it back up. So I've been just full-time, full force with tax sales. I was doing tax deeds strictly at first, and I'm like, what's tax deeds talking about? So I've just been learning. I do follow the tax sale map. So what states are deeds, liens, hybrids, all that. And I've just been participating every month, just trying to try different things, pretty much.
Any other thing that you want to share, Kiara, about your journey, about mentorship, any of that stuff?
I would say definitely invest in general. If it's not real estate, something long-term And definitely get a mentor, somebody professional in the industry. Like I found Miss Antoinette. I definitely recommend her. Definitely vet your coach and invest in you, invest in your education. You don't have to do it alone.
I want to say an investment in yourself pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin said that. That's one of my favorite quotes, but you can definitely leverage someone else's experience, their network, their connections to help you navigate some of the difficult things that you might encounter with tax deed sales. I purchased properties with liens on them. I purchased properties that were landlocked. I purchased retention ponds. I was really out here just effing around and finding out, really. But I was able to pull out profit at the end of the day because I had a mentor, even though his specialty was not in tax deed sales, it was in wholesaling and real estate in general. And because I had a network of real estate investors, I was able to leverage their experience and expertise to get clarity on how I should move forward. My network helped me out so much. But yeah, you said any deals that I wholeheartedly lost on. I actually haven't lost on any of my deals. When I say lost, I mean lost like money on any deals. Now my profit may not have been high. It might have just been like $1,000. But as long as I was in profit, my rule was profit is profit. It doesn't matter if it was $1,000, $500. I just wanted to make sure that I came out with profit. So even on my worst deals, I made a profit. It may have been a small profit. Sometimes we're so tied to money in terms of time. We think of dollars as in like, this is $12 an hour, this is $15 an hour, you know what I mean? But you have to release the thought of tying money to time. And then sometimes you might lose on a deal, but guess what? Like where you might lose on a deal, the next deal you may have an even wider spread for profit. So at the end of the year, if it just all balances out to you having profit, then I think overall it's a win. But it's ebbs and flows, guys. Ideally, we don't want to lose any money on deals, but sometimes we got to take L's and just keep moving forward, because there have been some deals that technically I'm in profit $1,000, right? But it took me 6 months to navigate that deal because the deal had issues and X, Y, and Z. I don't look at anything as a loss. I gained so much experience from my hardest deals. My hardest deals were the ones that taught me the most. And then I was able to take that experience and I never repeated that mistake. And my first couple of deals, I definitely was just really winging some stuff. Kind of got my tail handed to me a little bit on my second deal. My first deal, I was like, ooh, I got a little cocky. Then I went into the next deal. I did my research, but I just thought I knew more than I actually knew. And then I got hemmed up a little bit. When I tell you that deal cost me so many sleepless nights, I was like, ooh, Lord. I started crying about this deal. I ran out of money on this deal. I had to find out how to get more money for this deal. It was stressful. So one of the hardest things about being a real estate investor is the mentality. When I started off, I ain't had no job. I didn't have no other source of income. The money that I got from the deals was my rent money, was my food money, was my electric money. So I really was in a survival mode kind of mentality. You guys be sure to follow Kiara if you're not already following her. Listen, your growth has been explosive. So I'm super proud of you and I'm always rooting for you, girl. Anyway, thank you for joining me, Kiara. Y'all have a great day.